The News Line.
Hello and welcome back to People's TV. Today's video is not just about awareness, it's a wake-up call. A brutal reality is unfolding in the Middle East, one that radical Islamists and their sympathizers in mainstream media are desperately trying to distort for their own sinister agendas. Let's cut through the noise. Armed rebel groups, many of whom entered Syria alongside al-Shara, succeeded in toppling the Assad regime and took control of vast territories. While the removal of Assad, a brutal dictator, was undoubtedly a positive development, the power vacuum that followed opened the door to chaos and gave rise to radical factions that now threaten Israel's national security. Given its decades of experience dealing with jihadist threats from Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, Israel immediately recognized the danger posed by the radical factions entrenching themselves in Syria. Drawing from this hard-earned awareness, Israel's Ministry of Defense acted decisively, expanding its security perimeter in the Golan Heights by several miles into Syrian territory to protect its northern frontier. However, instead of acknowledging Israel's legitimate concerns, media outlets like CNN and Al Jazeera launched a smear campaign, accusing Israel of land grabbing and opportunism. The irony? These same voices justify Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine on the grounds of national security, yet they crucify Israel for protecting itself from religious extremists hell-bent on its destruction. The facts on the ground are undeniable. Just 40 kilometers from Israel's border, dozens of radical Islamist jihadist factions operate openly, well-armed, well-organized, and unapologetically clear about their deadly goals. These extremists don't hide behind political rhetoric. They loudly declare Jerusalem and Tel Aviv as their next targets. They have trampled lands sacred to the Druze community, crushed entire neighborhoods under their boots, and shout without hesitation, "Israel is next." The footage you're watching right now captures this chilling reality in its rawest form. Though the militants shout in Arabic, their message is unmistakable. They aren't preaching peace, they chant Allahu Akbar while brandishing AK-47s, standing on land sacred to the Druze, now desecrated by their bloodlust. This isn't spirituality. It is pure, unfiltered barbarism. The rebel combatants in this video openly declare their cause from a religious standpoint. They claim to stand on land considered sacred by the Druze community, yet instead of holding Qurans, they brandish AK-47s. They shout, "God is great," while wielding firearms, an unsettling contradiction that raises serious questions. We invite Muslim communities online, especially those who accuse us of being biased in favor of Israel, to clarify this glaring inconsistency. Still, the same media houses who explode with outrage over minor visa disputes involving Christian organizations in Israel, or isolated settler violence incidents in the West Bank, are eerily silent. No headlines. No primetime coverage. Just silence. Just yesterday, the very jihadist rebels shown in the video massacred an entire Christian pastor's family in Syria, 11 people slaughtered in cold blood. Where is the outrage? Where are the UN resolutions? Why is this not front-page news? Let's be clear, the incidents involving visa delays or isolated settler violence, though regrettable, were addressed by the Israeli government swiftly and lawfully. They don't compare in any way to the systemic, coordinated, and state-sponsored terror committed by Islamist radicals who answer to no laws, no morals, and no humanity. Israel is a tiny sliver of land surrounded by hostile regimes. And as a sovereign nation, it has every right to defend itself, vigorously and unapologetically. In fact, as part of the Abraham Accords negotiations, Israel even offered to return parts of this so-called expanded perimeter to Syria in exchange for peace. They were ready to turn Golan Heights into a shared garden of peace for both peoples. This is not a state hungry for land, it is a state longing for peace. Here's the bitter truth: you cannot negotiate peace with terrorists. Reasoning with those who kneel in prayer while calling for your annihilation is impossible. The extremists gathering near Israel's borders today are not freedom fighters. They are adherents of a death cult masquerading as religion, one that demands the extermination of Jews and the complete destruction of the Jewish state. This isn't fearmongering. It's the reality that Israel faces right now, a reality the world cannot afford to ignore any longer. If this report helped you see the situation on the ground clearly, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to People's TV, where truth has no agenda, and facts speak louder than spin.
Subscribe us for more details.